The Lord is my shepherd.
For this video, we're going to be looking at a phrase that was mentioned in our introduction and has a long, winding history and a very long-winded existence. The exact words weren't always a dog whistle. This is because of the fact that in America, the centralized government only really covers a small selection of certain things, and then there are other laws that can affect different areas. So, like open carry, if you live in a state with a huge amount of bears, that's fine, but I'm not that big on guns, but the whole deal there needs to be discussed about keeping kids safe from bears. Those states are more understanding about larger scale ammunition, for example. So, you need a larger bullet to take down a bear than you would a raccoon. This is in comparison to, say, a centralized government movement to ban Kinder eggs. And that just ensures that these dangerous snacks never reach the mouths of the beautiful, delicate American child. Okay? A small list of things actually clarified as states' rights content that is not unanimously covered by centralized government are death penalty, assisted suicide, same-sex marriage, gun control, and cannabis. Sadly, however, the dog whistle comes in two different forms that have existed in a symbiotic relationship of hatred and fear of change. In the 1940s, the weaponization of this term states' rights began, and it highlighted an idea of certain areas being able to get away with just having certain levels of segregation. Within these certain states, it was based upon the sitting politicians' biases. For example, decisions in 2004 in California were to do with Arnold Schwarzenegger being a Republican, rather than just how the state wanted to do things, like gay marriage. Not a good look, Arnie. This is around the time that the term Dixiecrat, which was a member of the segregationist political party in the US who predominantly used the Confederate flag. They created this party as they believed that the current president was making the Democratic Party too far left-leaning for their liking. And the official name of this party was Strom Thurmond. That was just how they named themselves. Dixiecrat was more of a pet name, you might say Uncle Barry about the bigot. To show how absolutely synonymous with the term segregation and the demands thereof states' rights has always been, George Wallace, Democratic governor of Alabama in 1963, acknowledged that in his speech. States' rights now, states' rights tomorrow, states' rights forever. Instead of segregation now, segregation tomorrow, segregation forever. Sadly, this mask slip would fall by the wayside. In fact, it would, if anything, make the phrase stronger and get it to spread further into the public consciousness. Some aspects of life have moved a lot further forward from the 1940s, thank God. However, some things have come back or never truly went away. And in regards to this particular phrase, well, it did what all viruses and sicknesses do. It mutated. It found a way for itself to still exist. For a sickness of men's hearts and minds such as this, it needs to change. It needs to find a new victim for their frustrations. So it moved from racism to sexism to homophobia to transphobia. States' rights has been a cry to have Planned Parenthoods shut down, claiming it did not fit with things such as local sensibilities or state culture and the likes, and causing pregnant people to travel to another state to get a procedure and even then, they face people yelling at them and shaming them. All for a procedure that still in America costs money. And for some travel expenses, the procedure is just all too much. When it was used as a cry against same-sex / similar-gendered couples, it is a cry for you to abide by family values or traditional marriage, or even, as I have heard, true marriage. Some locations use it to avoid the shutting down of churches and institutions that perform conversion therapy, which is, if you didn't know, the allocated torture, be it physical, emotional, and possibly in certain circumstances, sexual torture of young people to repress the emotions and attractions that they feel in a way that these people deem correcting in the eyes of God. In the cases of the trans community, these have been anything from banning gender affirmation surgeries, banning the use of gender-aligning bathrooms, misgendering and accepting the fire of someone for their trans identity, or ignoring the reason that the Matrix exists. The people who use this term will probably fall into a number of other categories. They sadly have a bit of an overlap. This is one of the ones that is a pipeline or a gateway term, and usually the same locations this term applies to or is used in are places that are usually more generous on perpetrators of murders for the communities they use the state's rights to oppress. I hope this video has helped you figure out a little bit more of what this means, and you can have a little look at where it features a little bit more of time and learn more and more and more as you go. Because, like looking specifically for a Honda Civic, the more you notice and pay attention to this, the more you'll see it. And so, anyway, now we're done with that. If you want to do all the YouTube things, ring the bell, drop money to the Patreon, that would be really, really appreciated. Or if you need a haircut and are in the northeast area, well, I can do that too. I'm apparently a man of many talents. Bye.